Hey everybody, this video, I wanted to pop on and post a video to follow up on some of the things we were talking about in the Clayton area card making workshop. I feel like there's some things that we didn't really get to go over and explain, and I'll try to keep this video short. I made these cards because it gives me an opportunity to go over some specific things that I think we didn't go over. I'm just calling these strip cards because I'm just using the paper strips, and you can use leftover papers this way. It's a good way to use them. And you'll notice that I've got, well, the strips are my background or my cover. And I've got one embellishment and one sentiment, and that makes up a card. And those are the things that you need. So let's go over a few things. So I noticed that we were talking about, you know, you're probably receiving happy mail, and you're probably receiving, you know, lots of beautiful things and papers and all kinds of things, and maybe you're not exactly sure what to do with all of it, and I wanted to give you some ideas. So here I have a pile of papers that is a collection of things that I've received from you guys, things that are left over from other projects, and what I do is just spread it out and see what goes together. And as I'm sifting through and sorting through, I just want to see what catches my eye and looks good together. And I know that the lighting on this video is not that terrific, so I'm working on that solution. But what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing green off the bat, and I'm seeing this, and no, these don't match, but they do have some of the same colors, or at least it's near enough on the color wheel that it looks like it belongs together. And you will know what belongs together. You should trust your own eyes. You will know. And if you're unsure, lay it down and then come back a few hours later or the next day and see what you think. So I'm going to choose these two, and we're going to cut them in strips. It might look like a bold mix of lots of stuff at first, but remember, we're going to cut them in strips. I'm picking this one. Let's see. That would go, even the brown, because it's colors that are compatible with each other. And for this particular project, I want to choose 5. Let's see what else I've got. And it might look real busy, right, at first, but we're gonna cut them into strips. And sometimes you'll come and you'll pick through your papers and you'll find something, and sometimes you won't. And maybe I'll abandon that one. Let's see what else. I've gone through these papers a few times, so I like this soft blue, and I happen to have a matching paper in a different color. Let's see. Those look good together. I do. I like those. What would that look like? I think that might work. What about that? That's dark. What about this? So just trust your own eye and see what you come up with. There's a million reasons why things might go together or might not. I'm going to choose these 5, and now I'm going to clear my desk. And we'll go over some other things. I think it's important if you buy anything that you might invest in a paper trimmer. And you can get them anywhere from about $10 on up to ridiculousness. I got this one several years ago, and I really like this brand. It's a Fiskars. They make really good stuff. I like this brand. This one probably is in the range of $30 now. I like this one because it has the arm that comes out to accommodate larger paper. And also, a Fiskars brand will honor a warranty claim. I had to get a new arm for this one, and I didn't have to pay a penny. They just sent me the replacement part, and I just sent them an email. So I really like this brand. We were talking about card bases, and you can buy card bases already folded for you, and it usually comes with the envelopes, so you don't have to worry about trying to find matching envelopes or trying to find the right size. For me, I send a lot of cards, and I feel like an affordable option for me is to just buy the white cardstock. And the brand I buy is Hammermill, and I buy this is white cardstock. Cardstock is what you want to look for, that term. And you want to look, no matter what brand you buy, you will want to look for the term 110 pound or higher, and that refers to the thickness of the paper. This is even a little bit thin for my liking, and that's why when we were making cards, I gave you the insert sheet, because it just helps it be a little bit more sturdy, and to me it feels better. That's not necessary, it's just something I choose to do. That's what I buy. There are other brands that are just as good and better, but I got this on Amazon. I think the current price is about $14, but you get 200 sheets, and you can get two card bases in one sheet. And what you would do is, here's a lesson in how to use the paper trimmer, and well, yeah, I mean, you just cut the sheet in half and have 2 card bases. So here's what you want to do when you get a paper trimmer. You've got the ruler up here, and then you've got this thing to butt your paper up against and to keep it straight. And if you've got an 8.5 by 11 sheet, to cut it in half to get 2 card bases, I'm going to put it at 5.5 right here, because that's half of 11. And I want to make sure that it's on the black line here that indicates 5.5. And I want to make sure that my paper's straight all the way down here. And then there's a blade right here, and you want to hold this down and just use your blade that way, and there you've got your 2 card bases. So a paper trimmer to me is an essential tool. when you cut your paper in half, you're going to get, well, I'm folding it now. Let me bring you back up. Sorry if that makes too much noise. So I'm folding it in half. And when I do, I'm going to end up over here. This is going to be 4 1/4. And this way is going to be 5 1/2. And that measurement is fundamental because this is a standard size card, this size, and it's called an invitation size card. Invitation. It's called invitation size. It's also called an A2 size. So you'll see those terms. Okay. I think what's next is adhesives. So you have your glue stick, right? I sent you home with a glue stick, and that would be ideal for this project because you can cover the back of your strips with the glue stick. You can also use double-sided tape, and I wanted to show you a little bit about double-sided tape. You will not get a second chance with double-sided tape. That's why I don't use it, because I'm just not that good. But if you were to use double-sided tape, because it is handy sometimes when you're covering a large area, what I do is I put it down on my paper and tear it off. And you will want to have a little something to press the double-sided tape down onto your paper. It helps if you have something straight and this is called burnishing. It has a name. But it helps to burnish it because it helps adhere it to the paper and helps it stick, but it also makes it more easy to take this back off. And then if you were to have your card here, I'm just gonna use this as an example. But like this one, I'm leaving a white border on each side. So I'm gonna try to get it straight. And this border it may or may not equal 1/8 of an inch. But when you leave a border, usually you will see people leave 1/8 of an inch. And that is half of 1/4 of an inch. And that makes it look attractive because it helps make the paper, the design of the paper pop off the page. Now, you can use any color cardstock, any color card base you want. I just happen to use white most of the time. So if I were to make a mistake, say I didn't get that on very good, you won't get a second chance. So I don't use it. What I do use is glossy accents. That's what the glue is called. And I don't have the original bottle, but I rebottle it into these needle nose bottles because it allows me to glue very small things like die cuts. It helps me get glue in very small spaces, and that's why I use it. And then generally that's what's around, and so that's what I use. it doesn't take very much glue, and it's a very strong glue, and it dries clear. It does dry shiny, so if you get it in a spot where you don't want it, it probably will show, but that's the nature of most glues anyway. So we have gone over those things, and I guess the next thing would be to cut our strips. And I need to hurry because I don't want to run out of memory again. And I've been trying to post a video, but I keep running out of memory. And then I have to start all over because my video is gone. So what I want to do is I want to take the papers that I've chosen and cut strips. And again, I'll put it in the paper trimmer. And this one just so happens to be 4 inches wide. And that's because some nice person who sent me Happy Mail cut it to size. Now, no, it's not 4 1/4 inches wide. It's 4. And that's because a lot of times people put the cover on there like that, leaving a border, and that's why it was cut that way, I'm sure. And this way, it's not 5 1/2 inches this way, it's 5 1/4. So that's why it's smaller. So for this project, the strips need to be 4 inches by 1 inch wide. Let me find. Oh, that's double-sided. I wanted to. So our strips need to be 1 inch by 4 inches for this technique. But in order to leave this gap, and this just for this project, and you see that I didn't really cut it that well because there's a big gap here. But I bet you didn't notice. So I say that to say that people aren't going to notice every little tiny thing about your card. They're going to see it as a whole. They're going to see the beauty of it. They're not going to see your mistakes. So please don't worry about making mistakes. It's all right, and it's art, and there's none. Perfection doesn't belong in the word art, and vice versa. So in order to leave this gap, I'm going to cut it just shy of 1 inch for this technique. So, like I was saying, it is already 4 inches, and I can tell that because you see the paper ends right there where that wire is. And I like this, I like a paper trimmer because I can tell, maybe this is not a good example because it's so light. Let's see if I can use this one as an example. So this one is wider than 4 inches. But I'm going to be cutting right there in the middle. And you'll see, maybe you can't see so well right here in the video. But I think it'll be evident whenever you are doing this on your own. So I'm going to butt it up there, and I'm going to put it at 4 inches on the line. Because I do want it to be a good 4 inches. I just want the strip to be a little bit more narrow than 1 inch. So I'm going to cut that. And then I want to cut a slightly less than 1 inch wide. So I'm not putting it on the 1 inch line. I'm just putting it just to the right of it, just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to cut my strips on all these papers, and I'll try to hurry because I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want it to get boring. But I wanted to say that, if I didn't say it already, maybe I have, I really enjoyed the workshop. I really enjoyed seeing everybody. And for those of you guys who don't know, those of you who are out of state, those who went to the workshop are all people I went to school with. We're from this area originally, or at least that's where we went to school, and it was good to see everybody. And it happens that those who went to the workshop, you know, they're new. You guys are new to paper crafting, and I wanted to mention that because those who are out of state, those who are not local to me, you guys have been doing paper crafting a long time, and I just wanted to say that if those who are local and those who went to the workshop, they're just getting started. So learning to walk, and we're not running yet. So just give them a little time. So I've got my strips, and I want to lay them out. Like, let's see what looks good. Maybe I'm not in camera. So lay them out first and see what looks good. I've got my gaps. I've got room for my gaps. And, you know, I guess it doesn't matter. It's going to be pretty because these all work together. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my glossy accents. And when you rebottle, if you choose this method, and let me just say that, number one, always put the pen back in because that nozzle's going to clog. But also, there might be a better solution. This is just what I got used to, and that this is what I use. And this Pixis, that's just the brand name of the bottle. It doesn't mean anything. So if you guys who are long-term paper crafters and you've got a lot of experience, if you got a better suggestion as to what to use, I'm all up for it. But I'm just going to put the tiniest amount. And I don't know if you can see. My hands have ink and stuff on it. I don't think you can see the glue. But you don't need to use much. You don't want it seeping out the side. So, and it doesn't take much. So I'm going to leave a little 1/8 of an inch border. Then I'm going to put the other one down on the opposite side. Is anything coming out? Yeah. I think my nozzle's getting clogged. I'm going to put it on the other side for this technique because I want things to fit. And if I found that if I do it that way, then I can place them better. Oh, that looks good. That's double-sided. I think I'll use that. I think I'll use this side. Yeah, some of your papers are going to be double-sided, and just look to see if they are. It's always a nice surprise to see that you've got another choice. So when okay, I'm not perfect here. That's okay. That's okay. When I was picking out the papers, it might have looked like a whole lot of busy. But when you cut it into strips and you reduce all that busy, then I think there's a good chance that it looks fine. Put the pen back in. Ah, okay. So now we just need an embellishment and a sentiment. And I need to hurry because I don't want to run out of storage. Please don't. let me run out of storage. So this also introduces you to stamping, and we use some wooden stamps, and I just used for this I'm just using some leftover paper, and you want to press it and maybe hold it there for a sec to let the ink absorb into the paper, and then lift straight up. And sometimes each stamp has its own idiosyncrasies, and also sometimes stamping can take some practice, and each ink pad might be more juicy or more dry. So just practice on a scrap piece of paper, I think, before you commit. There's also clear stamps, and that's what these are. You'll see, and this one's it says clear stamps, and what you do is you take the stamp off of the acetate sheet. You'll take your acrylic block. I think you should have one. It's 2 by 2 1/4 inch. I think that maybe you got at the workshop, and you'll stick it on there. If it stops sticking to the acrylic block and to your acetate sheet, rinse it off with water, and you'll want to rinse it off anyway after you use it. So you want to just tap it. You don't want to rub it or scrub it generally. You want to tap it, keep it level, as not to rock it and get ink all over your acrylic block. And then you'll just want to press it down firmly, but you don't want to, give it CPR or anything. You just want to make sure it has contact with the paper and lift straight up. And that's about it for stamping. It's kind of self-explanatory, but don't get frustrated if some of them don't work out. I had some butterflies here somewhere that didn't work out, and anyway, we'll get there. So I'm going to take this off, and I need to rinse that. I'm going to rinse that in water, but then I'm going to return it back to the acetate sheet. While I'm stamping, I'm going to get this butterfly out because I really like it. And make a butterfly embellishment. This ink stains. This brand is called Stays On. It's jet black, and it's a very good quality ink. And once this pad gets dry, you can buy refill ink that comes in a bottle kind of like that to refill it, so you can keep this pad a long time. I want to ink that up really good, especially getting in the middle, because that's where I failed before. And I'm just stamping it on this white paper. Let's see how it goes. Ha! That worked pretty well. I didn't get everything right there, but that's okay. I think that's fine. I'm going to rinse that, and then I'll put it back on the acetate sheet. So I've got my sentiment stamped, and I've got my butterfly stamp. And I'm going to cut my butterfly out. This is called fussy cutting, and I generally cut this out of the big piece of paper, just so that it's easier to handle. And you don't want to chop cut like that. You probably want to gently maneuver the paper and angle your scissors this way so that you can see what you're doing and also go around the curve better. And when you're going around the curve, you'll want to turn the paper as you cut. You want to turn the paper more than you want to turn your scissors. It makes for a smoother cut. And I don't know. And I'm leaving a wide inch border around. I think that's probably typical of what you see. You could cut it out and not leave the white border like I'm doing. And it's just a personal choice. And sometimes I do this and sometimes I cut it out to not have the border. Okay, I like that stamp, I really do. And I think I have a sentiment already cut out, but you could cut it out with the paper cutter, or you could use scissors to cut it out. I can't find it, so I guess I'm not good at cutting squares, so I'm going to cut this out and use my paper trimmer. Okay. So here you can see exactly where you're cutting. Where that wire is where you're cutting. You hold the arm down. And now the trick is to make a square. It's not going to be straight, but that's okay. It can be tilted. I think that's absolutely fine. So I've got the card, and I see the sentiment there. And I think I'll put the butterfly over here like I did with the other cards. But I think, just for me, I think that the sentiment kind of gets lost. You see the butterfly, but thank you's kind of like, oh, thank you. But I want it to be thank you. So I'm going to put the sentiment on a page of a different color. It could be any color. Leaving a 1/8 inch on those sides. And I'll cut it. And the reason I'm doing this is because I think you'll see that by placing your sentiment, sometimes, depending on the design of the card, if you put the sentiment on a border, it stands out better. And then lastly, I'm going to use some dimensional tape, like I think you might have from the workshop. And I'm going to put it on the butterfly. And I'm just going to use one piece because I want the wings to kind of come up. But you could put dimensional tape here and here too. But decide where you want to place everything. And just remember that adding dimensional tape or anything that makes the card thicker is going to add to the thickness of your card and potentially add to the cost of postage. Okay, that's my card. And I think that I would be proud to send that out. And I hope that you could use these techniques, and I hope that I've given you some helpful tips and hints. If you have any questions, you can comment or you can message me. And if you have any ideas or suggestions on materials or anything, let me know. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.